That's right, I'm here and I'm back. You thought I was gonna stop these gear talks. Of course I won't. I might be in the middle of moving and have a empty area here, but I am not gonna stop doing this because there is so much more lore to talk about. In fact, I sat down, I kid you not, planning and thinking on what the next video would be. And I thought to myself, okay, I actually have a list of what I want to talk about and what I want to get to. And on it, I have Swarmer Locust character coming up I'm going to do. And I'm like, okay, there's not a lot to choose from that we have named. I can go over the different species and types of locusts. I can definitely do that, but I want to save that. So I have some stuff to work with later on. I want to get some named people done. And I sat there and thought, okay, who do I have? Dramad's done. Srock, or however you want to say his name. I can never say it right. I haven't done him yet. I could save him for later, though. I haven't done Rom, but that's a big video. Scourge, Karn, and then I thought Mira. Mira I was holding off after Gears 5, so I was waiting on that one. But then it hit me. There's one person I could do a quick video on while I'm still moving, still getting ready. By the time you see this, I'll be heading to a wedding. Something I can do quick, get it out and really get something going. And that's the speaker. I can do the speaker and talk about him from Gears 4, pretty much the main leader of the swarm at the time. Now, it's going to go into a little bit of some spoiler stuff in this video, but Gears 5 has been done for a while, so I think people will be okay if I talk about that. So, the speaker was one of the first scions that we meet. In fact, technically he's the first one if you count not really seeing him, but he's the one that went to Reyna's village. Technically, he'll be the first one we encounter, you could say. When it comes to him, this is when the swarm was first acting up again, so he was probably one of the first scions to emerge. As I could look up and find as much info as I could, it's presumed that he was a high-level Locust before he was turned, and what we get at the end, if you haven't noticed about Locusts to Swarm, drones to Scions, they grow quite a bit. This boy's 8 to 9 feet tall. He could give Srock, whatever you want to call him, a run for his money in a fight. And that's pretty much what he is. He's just a big, beefy dude. And I mean, I don't mind the guy. I thought he was okay. I thought the concept was good. I thought he was really hyped up a lot more than they sold him for in the game. But he was good. I enjoyed him. So I figured I'd go through some of his history, which there's not a lot of, but just go through how he came to be and what who he is before we get into like some more info about him. You know, just some of those fancy tidbits at the end. Now, like I said, he first emerged with the rest of the Scions that first pretty much came up from their cocoons. Now, I'm going to assume, and everyone else does too, he was a high-ranking Locust by the look of it. And just because you become a Scion or you re-emerge doesn't mean, like, you're a blank slate and you restart life. Like, they do remember somewhat of their Locust lives. Obviously not perfectly, I'm not going to assume, but they do understand that. And like I said, spoilers coming up, but as we learn in Gears 5, Mira's consciousness still exists in the hive mind that's created. Mira's still a thing. So I'm going to assume once they all rose up, she probably went to either the first one she found, or she went to the alpha one, or she went to the biggest one, and she's like, this is going to be my avatar, or this is going to be the thing that's going to speak for me. Now, originally in Gears of War 4, we figured the speaker because he's able to speak. We'll get to that in a moment. But after Gears 5, it kind of takes on a new meaning, the speaker. We learn Mira's still a thing. Mira's still around. So I'm going to assume he's the speaker because he speaks for Mira. He's speaking what Mira wants him to say because Mira doesn't have a body. He's the one talking for her. Now, we learn that he's pretty much given the orders from Spirit Mira at this point, and him along with the others. I would love to learn how Snatchers, Pouncers, and Carriers are made. We understand the Snatcher because that's pretty much the evolved form of a Pouncer, but I'd like to know how they got the other things made, but that's a video for another day. They pretty much go on and they take an assault over to Reyna's village, and that's where we first get introduced to him fighting off Oscar and Reyna in order to take Reyna. That's also where the speaker, one of his signature things that we know about him, loses his hand. It gets cut off by Reyna, and he no longer has his hand. He's fighting one-handed, and he's still waffle stomps everybody there. He waffle stomps through Oscar, gets a knife in him, and chucks him to the side, and he takes down Reyna and abducts her. So we know the guy's definitely got some skill, because it's shown that Reyna's really skilled with some knives. So he's good hand-to-hand combat, or at least Reyna is amazingly skilled at hand-to-hand combat, where she can take a Scion on. So after that, we end up having JD, Kate, and Dell find his hand, crystals off of it, they cut it off, and that's where pretty much they go up to Marcus and say, this is what we're dealing with. Now, cut all the way forward, I believe, if I remember correctly, the end of Act 4, we finally get to see him again. We finally get to see what he's doing and what's up with him. Now, we end up seeing that he's sitting in, like, because they're leaving the Tollen Dam Hive, because that's what he pretty much rules over, you could say. At the moment, I want to believe that the Tollen Dam was the biggest hive, because that's when everything was re-emerging. He was probably originally woken from there. I'm going to assume the Tollen Dam Hive was the biggest at that moment. It stated there were other dams and there were other ones being woken up, but Tollen Dam was probably the base of operations at that moment. So we end up learning that he's the one that's pretty much, at the moment, in charge. We learn he's a big, heavy Scion, an elite Scion. He stands above the elites. And we end up learning that he is pretty much... Again, we don't know it at the time, but we learn later on he's taking orders from Mira. Now, he ends up jumping on a Swarmak, and he ends up going against Marcus, Kate, JD, and Dell. And they're blowing off electrical conduits, frying the dude. He's still technically alive by the end of it all, because he gets chucked off the Swarmak. And he's still alive. He's hurt, but he's still kicking. Again, Scions are made really heavy. So he ends up getting dragged over to Kate. Kate sends a message straight to him, and he's connected to the Hive, so the Hive all sees this. She openly declares a death threat to the Hive and war against them, and then curb stomps his head off. That's the last thing we get from the Speaker. That's the last thing we ever get of him. The character that is responsible pretty much for Reyna's death. Well, technically Kate killed Reyna, but, you know, he led it to be that way. He only appeared twice in the game. And then the first time you don't even know who it is. The second time you actually meet him and he's dead. Yeah, the Speaker, like I said, I enjoyed the concept. Just they kind of executed it poorly in the long run. So... That's everything story-wise for the Speaker. Now, that's everything we get for appearance-wise from him. Now, there's a lot of things surrounding him, a lot of theories, a lot of things that I've said in the past that actually tie into this for my theory videos. I did way back, like a year and a half ago. So, let's kind of just look through this quick, because I feel bad giving the guy, like, less than a 10-minute video, because he was technically the main antagonist of Gears of War 4. So I feel like I need to at least flesh out him. That would be like doing a video on ROM and having that like only like 20 minutes. The guy's got like an hour-long video if I ever make it. Trust me, it's going to be long. ROM was the powerhouse here that really carried the original Gears villain-wise. Anyway, so the Speaker is named the Speaker because he is able to speak. Again, later on in Gears of War, we learn Mira is pretty much having him call the shots at that moment. She's telling him what to do, but he's able to talk. Now, as for his ability to speak, because we know from past Gears of War games, the Locusts, they know very broken Tyrian, or for us, English. They know very broken English. They know basic things, and that's it. Now, I very much believe that after that 25 years of them being cocooned, they didn't just learn English off the bat and they're able to fluently speak Tyrian. I don't believe that at all. What I believe happened was they were ordered, him and his group, because there were other Scions. At that point, I'm very certain they were already they were already changing others, because they stated that people were missing, and that's why Jin thought they were doing something. You know, Juvies were already being made, Pouncers were running around, things were already being created. He got a big enough group from the Tollen Dam and probably other hives where they were able to send out a group to try and capture Reyna, which they did. Give them credit. They did. They captured everybody except for... They technically captured Oscar too, but he got out. So Oscar got out. Reyna was captured. I don't know why I'm adding that. So Oscar got out, and the two kids from the book, Ascension, I believe, they weren't at the village at the time, I believe. So they didn't get captured either. So there were only those three, and then you have Kate, JD, and Dell. So only 6 survivors from the entire camp that made it out. Now, the thing you have to remember here is they were only getting orders in the back of their head from Mira to go and do this. I'm assuming, again, Mira is just a disembodied voice in their brains at this point. I don't think they have, like, I'm forced to do this. The last thing I remember were fighting humans. Mira was alive. They're getting orders from Mira. They're going to go and do it. So they capture Reyna. The speaker drags her on back to Tollen Dam. Pretty much, like, just slaps her into the ooey gooiness she was stuck into. Staples her into that. And by what it's kind of implied, by what I can take from it, by what I'm seeing in it all, is that they attached her in. They used her as like a human battery. Mira was able to like use that, or maybe it was just an automatic biological thing where the swarm gained a vast level of intelligence. Now, I'm guessing once she was plugged in, that's when like their intelligence bloomed. Obviously not like insanely high, but they got smarter. They obviously got a bit smarter. You have this situation exactly too where you're sitting there and you realize that, okay, this guy's speaking perfect English. Why? How? But then you think like, okay, Reyna's plugged in. So I'm assuming whoever's plugged in too, they'll pick up the native language or something because she's attached to the hive mind at that point. They can get into her head and out. So I'm going to assume that if you put anyone in that situation, it would have been the same kind of thing that happened. If you put Paddock as the hive mind, I want to imagine they could speak Garazni at that point. Maybe they know some now, actually, because they've been attaching some of the others into the hive mind. Like, we don't know the limits of how much this thing can grow and learn. We do know that the queen, though, gives them the ability to flourish. So I'm going to assume with the speaker, he's at the level he's at because of the fact that not only Mira was guiding him, but also because of the fact that Reyna was plugged in and it's like, ugh, I can speak now, okay. I'm going to assume that's the reasoning for things. That's what it is. Because we're never given a straight up answer as to why. You know, I'm going to say that's the reason. Now, aside from Gears 4, he is mentioned in Ascension a little bit. I haven't read the full book, but I do know that he is, like, he's spoken about for a moment. He is a multiplayer character in Gears 5, and you can play as the speaker. I believe you can in 4. He's still called Speaker. He's a Scion Elite. That's pretty much what he is. He's just the top level Scion Elite is pretty much what he is. When the queen's not around, they're in charge. So that's why he's in charge, you know? I mean, that's all you really get. I wish we got more of him. He seems like he would have been an interesting antagonist, and we could have learned a lot more about, like Mira's ability to speak hive mind telepathically. She could even do that during the Locust era. You know, she did it with Rom. We played in Shadow of Rom. She can speak to you telepathically. I want to assume it's anyone she can choose from. We kind of get in 5 Mira, she's attached to all of them kind of as a motherly thing, but we don't really get that whole, like, I am telepathically able to speak to you. The speaker, we kind of get that because of the hive mind. It makes sense because she's in there, but we don't really get that more with the Locusts. It would have been nice to dive further into that, and it seems like the speaker would have been a perfect person to kind of bridge the gap with that kind of thing, because there's still a lot of mystery in between just for the gritty details. Yeah, obviously he's never coming back. I could easily see more speakers being a thing. There could easily be more of them. It's not like Mira can't, because now that Reyna and Mira are a thing as one cohesive unit, Mira pretty much has a body again. I'm not gonna lie, Mira could pull out any trick she wants at this point and it wouldn't surprise me. She could say, like, I've got 20 speakers, all smart as hell, they can speak fluently, they're riding Swarmax, and they know what they're doing. That wouldn't surprise me for the ability she can do. And again, Reyna's not forcibly trying to hold back being attached to the thing. Reyna's dead. Mira's pretty much just driving the body. So they could do anything they wanted at this point, and I would buy it. They could have Warden speakers could be a thing. That would be terrifying. But it all depends what they want to do. They can do anything they want in Gear 6, really. So yeah, that's going to do it for the speaker. That'll do it for my Swarm character. I finally got to talking about them a bit. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for making all of this possible. I'm sorry I haven't been around a lot for Gear Talks. It's been very hectic in my life. If you've seen any of the videos I've released, you've known it's been a little harder to get things out as of late, especially with the moving. That's made things hard too. I'm kind of in a hurry to get things going today. As you can tell by my speech, it's a little sped up than normal. I'm not trying for that. It's just when I'm trying to get a bunch of things done, I start like boom, boom, boom. So that's kind of how I am right now. I want to thank all the patrons for making this possible. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, ring bells, do Patreons, do Etsy's, do Instagrams. That's a thing now. Do the monkey. Any of that works. You guys have a great one. I love you all. Thank you all for everything. See you next time.